like Brick City kids with cans of ultra flat blacks, exhibit flares with fat caps. Proceed to take it back and recapture the essence of pure hip hop, like 92 through 94. When the sun rose in the east, them props were hard to earn. If you wanted more, the land of the Liberty Bell brought joints mad hot like sunburn. We learned how many MCs get dissed in Bucktown by the CEO and the rest of duck down. When lifestyles went from struggling to juicy Cadillacs and hoopies, Gloucester and players balls of Decatur residents. Back to the Big Apple when Mr. Jones sat in the park and sparked trips down memory lane, while some MCs battle mass stress in their brain. And the crew of Shaolin warriors warned MCs to protect their necks when they cash mic checks. And sex, this abstract reinforced the fact that the state of hip hop was really cool like that. Mind states became inflated like a balloon, while 8 million stories were told in one tune. Grimy street cats yelled out to back the fuck up, but one utilized more eyes to return the product. New school kids thought the end was near, while the nutty triple team got props over here. You could dial the 800 number and find different ways to kill yourself if you didn't listen close and release your delf. Like Clifford Smith said, journey through the dark side with the man in all red. Hip hop was definitely the most beautifulest thing in this WORLD. Lord Jazz hit him one time and made it funky, and fresh out the box came a constipated monkey. Time's up, point of views got critical, and everything was everything. Hearing thoughts from a criminal, nobody moved when wise tackled the subject matter. If you came from out of state, you got pussy on a platter. Break a 1-9 just in the nick of rhyme. Big shot town imported, sold by the pound. Kids sparked the madism on the avenues, while the anthem on the corners was the Ill Street Blues. Some were born to roll, while stupid kids traveled in a big van full of motherfucking Pakistans. It was survival of the fittest, so you couldn't be shook. And last but not least, don't forget the let's bring it back to the uncut raw. Let's bring it back to the way that it was before. Let's bring it back to a time when shit was mad ill, and the number one rule was to keep it all real. Let's bring it back to the uncut raw. Let's bring it back to the way that it was before. Let's bring it back to a time when shit was mad ill, and the number one rule was to keep it all real.
I told you that story to tell you this one.
On the West Coast, you had to be 21 and over to listen to sounds by the intoxicated group that's never sober. When the cumulus clouds created black Sundays above the hill, while cats chill from 93 till. If you slept on pure skill, then you got caught with a bad one by an urban soldier with a nose ring, whose flows bring insight and not revolve around expensive clothing. While we see a rise in weed smoking for medicinal purposes, causes prescribed by the doctor, whose content had to rock ya, but he forgot to keep the side gates closed. And guess what happened? His dog ran out and started attacking until we all knew his name regardless of the section. And frozen H2O gave rap a lethal injection. The underground scene was blessed with the epitome of hip-hop, brought to you by the fellowship shop. Sticks and stones, Bambino and Stanch said twice. Leveled and serviced you on mics. You drank a 40 ounce for breakfast if you chill with the gal and slept light at the house of the saucy nomad. Fear itself manifested, situation wasn't funny. He teamed up with me to talk about cash money. I swore that this feeling of bliss would never die, but this was just another time that was passing me by. I swore that this feeling of bliss would never die, but this was just another time that was passing me by. Let's bring it back to the uncut raw. Let's bring it back to the way that it was before. Let's bring it back to a time when shit was mad ill, and the number one rule was to keep it all real. Let's bring it back to the uncut raw. Let's bring it back to the way that it was before. Let's bring it back to a time when shit was mad ill, and the number one rule was to keep it all real. Damn, yo, that was the time, yo.
Man,
we definitely gotta bring that shit back.
It was mad
one
long,
time,
man.
one time.
Black cop, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell
Black
yeah,
cop,
just
black cop,
KRS.
that's when life was simple, kids.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
you could just
Can
walk
it be
the
all
street
so
with your
simple,
Walkman,
my
you know
man?
what I'm saying?
Damn, let's bring that shit back, yo. One time, one time.